Richard Branson is one of the world's most celebrated entrepreneurs, living the dream, from the outside at least. Happiness, a loving family, success, Caribbean island, more money than most of us could imagine. But he's also now increasingly focusing his attention on philanthropy. And Richard Branson is my guest on The Global Conversation. Many thanks for joining us on the programme.
Thank you.
It seems now that philanthropy is becoming more and more the responsibility of the wealthy. They're taking that responsibility on board. Is that something you're seeing?
So it should be. I mean, I think, you know, if you're successful in life, enormous wealth can go with that success. If you have enormous wealth, then enormous responsibility goes with it too. And it's that responsibility to use your entrepreneurial skills to get out into the world to solve some of the problems of the world, and also to use your financial strength to get out in the world and solve some of the problems of the world.
Is it a new trend though? Well, not a new trend, but is it a trend? We're seeing more of it now.
I think it is a trend. I think it's a positive trend, I think what capitalism is something which seems to be the only system that works. I mean, capitalism is wonderful in that you have young people, they come up with an idea to make a difference in other people's lives, and they go with their idea, and if they're successful, their idea grows and they make some money. But they make the fault of capitalism. They sometimes make the kind of money that is completely unnecessary for them to make, and in order not to stifle capitalism by imposing sort of draconian taxes on those people, it's up to those people then to use that money to give it back to society in one form or another.
We received a message on Facebook from one of our viewers to ask you, and this is from Thomas Huygen, and he says, being on the one extreme of global inequality, what do you make of the criticism that it's unjust for the 85 wealthiest people on the planet, and I suppose you are towards that side, to have as much wealth as the poorest 3.5 billion people?
I just came from a lunch with Bill Gates, who is perhaps the wealthiest man in the world, and 60 other business leaders who are very successful, who have all agreed to give the majority of their wealth away, either whilst they're alive or when they die, and not just to leave it to future generations. And I think that's the right thing to do. The good thing about these people is they're also entrepreneurially minded, so they can also see problems in the world which can be tackled using their entrepreneurial skills and their money. Because
you've also pledged to give up half of your fortune, haven't you, as part of this pledge?
At least half, yeah. I think entrepreneurs can see problems perhaps slightly differently than some other people, and often they can get problems. I mean, let's say last month the president, that Uganda passed a law to say that a very anti-human rights law saying that gay people would be put in prison for life. If you didn't report a gay person, you'd be put in prison for life. Incredibly dangerous, homophobic, horrible law. We got together a group of business people who could talk to the president, and the president, changed his mind and vetoed the law. So I think that business people have quite a lot of clout in the world, and if we use our clout positively, we can change the world for the better.
Yeah, because you're involved in so many different issues. You mentioned gay rights, but there's also gender equality, there's climate change, there's conflict resolution. You don't seem to get overwhelmed by it, though. You seem to feel, I get the impression you really do think we can resolve it. So you're saying one problem at a time in some respects.
I just got off the phone before I came in here with an organisation called the Elders that we set up, which Kofi Annan is the chairman of, and just said, Ukraine, look, 3 people got killed on the streets. We ought to consider whether a group like the Elders could go into Ukraine and see if they can help resolve a conflict before it becomes like a Syrian situation with hundreds of thousands of people being killed. And often, conflicts, it's right at the very beginning of conflicts that, if you move quickly enough, if you can, get the leader of the opposition and the leader of the country together, and say, for the sake of your country, please, compromise, and don't let this, go into a Syrian situation. You can resolve that conflict. And the elders, for instance, did that in Kenya when Kenya was falling apart a few years ago, and they managed to get that resolved. I think if you're in a position to make a difference, you've got to try to make a difference.
Well, the young are finding life pretty tough at the moment, mass unemployment. I think young entrepreneurs find it difficult to meet those challenges that life kind of raises. So we received a tweet from a young guy called Edmund Graham, and he said, how can one thrive in an average world where opportunities are limited? What's your advice to these young guys trying to make it? You help them.
Yeah, look, to become an entrepreneur is not easy, and a lot of people who try to become entrepreneurs, they fail along the way. But good ones pick themselves up and they try again until they succeed. And what an entrepreneur needs to do first of all is come up with an idea that will make a positive difference to other people's lives. And if you've got an idea that's going to make a positive difference to other people's lives, you've got a chance of building a business. And then you need to get a great group of people around you who believe in what you're trying to do. And then you need to just say, screw it, let's do it, and get on and try it. It sounds easier said than done, and I know how difficult it is. When I started in business, age 15, I would stand outside, concerts, handing out leaflets for a small little mail order company, trying to sell records, and as people sent me in the money, I'd then go and buy the records and then send it to them, and so. It can be a very hand-to-mouth existence to start up and build a company, but enormously rewarding if you succeed. Not everyone is going to succeed as an entrepreneur, but it's worth giving it a try.
Would I be wrong in saying that one of your mantras as well is to have fun along the way? You're kind of pretty well known for the pranks that you pull and the.
I think life is short. Life should be fun, and it should be fun. It should be if the chairman of the company is having fun. If you go to a party and if I let my hair down and I'm the first to be thrown in the swimming pool and I'm not just standing in the corner of the room sipping sherry or something, then everybody will have a laugh and everybody will have it fun. If you're chairman of the company, be the first to dance on the table. Just get everybody else up dancing on the table and make sure the party's a laugh. So, so play hard and work hard, and follow certain principles in life. Love people. Make sure you make a positive difference in this world while you're on it.
Yeah. So you like to make people laugh. If you can think of one, I don't want to put you on the spot, but say one of your favourite pranks you've played.
Well, let's see. British Airways have always been a big competitor of Virgin, and they were sponsoring the London Wheel, which is opposite the House of Commons. And the wheel was lying on the ground, and they got all the world's press to come and see them erect this wheel. And I got a call at 6 in the morning saying they can't get the wheel up. Well, we had an airship company that was half an hour from London. So I rang up the airship company, I scrambled an airship, and it flew straight over the wheel. And it had a big sign on the side of it, BA can't get it up. So that sort of thing is, we like to have some fun at our competitors' expense. And we got the front pages of every newspaper and most television companies that day.
You're also involved in very exciting ventures. There's philanthropy on the one side, but you haven't given up your business ventures entirely either. And I think Virgin Galactic must be one of the most exciting things happening at the moment. Are we really going to see a commercial spaceflight this year?
We are definitely going to see a commercial spaceflight this year. It'll be mid this year, and I'll be going out with my children, and it will be it'll be ridiculously exciting. We built the mothership, we built a spaceship, we built a spaceport in New Mexico. We're beginning to build satellites to go with, to put up there with the spaceship. Will enable, I think, in my lifetime, hundreds of thousands of people to become astronauts, will enable the cost of telephony and internet access to come down dramatically. We'll be able to reach people, the 2 billion people who don't have it. Will hopefully, again in my lifetime, will be able to enable you to go from London to Australia in a little over an hour.
So how does that work?
Well, this is going to be sort of 10, 15 years ahead, this particular aspect of it. But if we can put a spaceship into orbit and then drop it back down into Sydney, you'll be traveling at 18,000 miles an hour. So basically, the time in the journey is going to be.
So the Earth rotates.
If you put anything into orbit, it'll go at 18,000 miles an hour. So it's just going to be the time of takeoff and landing that's going to, and when you look out of the window on your journey, you'll be looking back at the Earth, and you'll have the ride of a lifetime. So I think it'll be a very popular service one day.
It seems to be the stuff of fantasy, and I've also heard that you're thinking about building a space hotel.
Yep, I mean, I think if you're going to send people to space, there's some people who want to stay there for a week or two. So, there's already a wonderful man called Bigelow who has actually now got everything ready for hotels in space, and we'd love the first serious space hotel to be Virgin Hotels.
When would that be? What kind of time frame are you looking at for that?
I think about 5 years from now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And how much would a room cost per night?
We've still got to have to work that one out. I think, as always with these things, it's going to be expensive initially. The people who can afford it will enable us to bring the prices down for those people who can't afford it. So one day, hopefully, hundreds of thousands of people will be able to afford it, and not just the wealthy few.
Have you become so inextricably linked to the Virgin brand? You've almost become a brand in yourself. Do you worry that as you extricate yourself from Virgin...
So you're going to say when you die again? Anyway, just say,
okay.
just say it.
When you die, when you pop your clogs, will Virgin die with you?
I don't think so. I think, Apple hasn't died. Steve Jobs is no longer. And I think Virgin is well established as a brand now globally, that it will live on. I've got wonderful people working at Virgin. I've got two delightful adult children who are very, very capable. I don't think any of them will want to see all the effort we put into building Virgin wasted. And we want Virgin, to be, a company which we can be proud of, but more to the point, we want Virgin to be, the greatest force for good company in the world and making a real difference in the world. And that's something that everybody who works for Virgin can be really proud of.
You were just mentioning your kids, and it brings back to me the fact that when you were doing your balloon trips around the world, you wrote goodbye notes to your children because you thought it was so risky you could die on the trip. And I guess like most adventurers then, does that mean that your lust for adventure is stronger than your
love for my children?
Love for your children, your love for life?
Well, look, I think it's a very good question, and being a responsible father or mother, you should most likely just sit at home and watch television and not embark on grand adventures. Having said that, now my children have grown up.
But they were young at that point.
Yeah, but now they've grown up. They've climbed Mont Blanc with me. We've tried to break the transatlantic sailing record together. We've kite surfed across the English Channel. We're going to space together. That zest for adventure is something which is inbred in our family. And if we lose one of us in that zest for adventure, we will know that we've gone out doing something that we wanted to do, that is really challenging ourselves, rather than dying in a road accident or whatever other way it happened.
Razvan Zapodenu asked, "Are you afraid of anything? Are you afraid of something?" Is that precisely how he put it? Yeah,
look, I love life, and therefore, if you love life, you don't want to part early from life. And I have, in my balloon attempts, I think I was pulled out of the sea 5 times by helicopters. So, so I've been fortunate to have survived. Obviously, I would hate for my children ever to be ill, or and that's something that you know, as a father, you know, good health is all that matters. But you know, as long as our family and friends are healthy, then I'm afraid of little.
This was a question from Sana Mina, and she said, does money make you happy or not?
When I started off, not thinking of myself as a business person, but thinking of myself as wanting to make a difference in the world. So I started a magazine to campaign against the Vietnamese War, the Biafran War in Africa, and money was just a means to try to get enough money in to pay for the magazine to make sure it could come out every week. And ever since then, I've created things where I think it can make a difference in the world. Hopefully, at the end of the year, more money comes in than goes out to pay the bills. Money is useful to, if your children are ill, if you want to get a decent education, if you want to have a holiday a year, there are some basic necessities with money. But once you've actually, you had your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and done those things, money's not that important. Now, if you have money, therefore you just must make the best of it and make good use of it, and use it to transform the world.
So, if we look at 2014, if you had if you have one major ambition for 2014, in terms of doing good for the world, what would you really like to plug away at and make a huge difference in?
Well, look, I would love to see less conflicts in the world, and I think the elders, they're a wonderful group of people. People like Mary Robinson, Kofi Annan, Archbishop Tutu, Nelson Mandela was one of them, President Carter, and so on. Tomorrow they go to a region where there is a conflict to try to address it. We've got people in Central Africa trying to address conflicts there. I'd just love to see less conflicts in the world, and because if you have a conflict, you don't have education, you don't have health, the whole of society breaks down. If there's one thing one could pray for this year, would be to see an end to the Syrian conflict and peace come again to that region.
Now, I began the interview by saying that you're incredibly lucky. You have so many things in life. You live a dream life for many of us. But that success, comes with work. So if you look deeply within yourself and you're modest, what would you say that makes you different from other people, stand out from other people, has made you, I suppose, a catalyst for change?
Well, I don't think I'm that different from other people. I think I'm lucky enough to have been brought up in a family that, family of love, family that looks for the best in other people. And I managed to surround myself by wonderful people who are also good at dealing with other people. And we create things that this wonderful team of people around me believe in. People are willing to work really hard to try to make them a success. We have a lot of fun doing it, and we'll continue to do it until we drop.
Richard Branson, many thanks for joining us on the programme.
Thank you very much.